On the 27th of August, 2013, the official Doctor Who YouTube channel uploaded a video called The Other Eighth Doctor. The video goes into detail about an actor named David Burton, who was asked to play the Doctor for 2 pilot episodes produced by an independent company that would later be shown to the BBC to potentially reboot the famous science fiction series. At the time that the supposed pilots were first announced, Burton was a local radio personality who had been working on a play called Lock Up Your Daughters with director Paul Bernard, who had previously directed 3 serials for Doctor Who during the Jon Pertwee era: Day of the Daleks, The Time Monster, and Frontier in Space. According to Burton, Bernard gave him a secret proposition that he could reveal nothing about. Burton, intrigued, agreed, and decided to get involved. As discussions continued in a hotel room, it became clear to Burton that it concerned a part in Doctor Who. When he was pressed for more details, Bernard explained that Burton had been chosen to play the Doctor himself in a top-secret project, where 2 pilots would be independently shot in Vienna, Austria, shown to the BBC, and whatever happens, happens. Detailed descriptions of the project, such as the plot and time frame of its production, weren't explicitly revealed by Burton in the interview, although according to him, the crew wanted an older, eccentric Doctor like a mad scientist or professor, who would be joined by twins called Heart and Diamond as his companions, possibly a reference to the Celestial Toymaker. The original blue police box look would be replaced with a traditional red telephone box with blacked out windows. The initial contract was for 3 months, and as part of the deal, Burton was given a car for promotional reasons, being required to attend a few events such as school fetes. After waiting for a while, Burton was told the project was completely axed and nothing further was going to come of it, despite all the money spent on it. Burton theorised that the episodes were destroyed, also revealing that the project was apparently so secretive that no photographs were taken, and any sides that they were given on set were immediately confiscated and destroyed. Burton rarely spoke about it to friends and did not include it on any of his acting CVs, simply because he saw no point in bringing up an unreleased project, especially one that had no evidence of its existence. Now, there's obviously 2 answers to this mystery, and only 2 answers. The pilots were in fact destroyed and all evidence of their existence was erased, or Burton is lying. Let's go over the 3 main theories. The pilots were real and so top secret that all evidence of their creation was ordered for immediate destruction when the project was cancelled. Burton lied in order to get a free car and sponsorship deal and continues to lie out of fear he'll get in legal trouble. Or Burton was part of an incredibly obscure fan production where he either misunderstood or was lied to about the true nature of the project, possibly even being a BBV knockoff in the likes of Colin Baker's The Stranger series. Let's examine the case further. A brilliant article on a blog site called endofTheLane.co.uk dove into the full story. It's pretty long and I strongly recommend you read it yourself if you're interested, but here's some bullet points. Doctor Who magazine's Gallifrey Guardian in October 1991 detailed a charity fundraising fete. It was being held at the Holmesdale First School in Reigate on Saturday the 8th of June. The fete had been opened by David Burton, who had arrived in a Proton Saga car that had been loaned out to him by a local dealer, a car that also had graffiti on it reading, "The New Doctor Who." A follow-up 2.5 years later revealed that the Middlesbrough newspaper, the Herald and Post, was promoting a pantomime called Dick Whittington, with Burton playing the captain's mate. It mentioned he had just finished filming a new series of Doctor Who in which he plays the time-travelling Doctor. On contacting the theatre, both the manager and the pantomime's producer stated that as far as they knew, Burton had indeed done some filming work on 1 or more new episodes. But to confirm it, the producer put DWM in touch with the actor. The same issue of the magazine featured a 1-page interview with Burton that had been conducted over the telephone by the magazine's assistant editor Marcus Hearn, in which the actor indicated that he had indeed filmed a pilot episode entitled The Monsters of Ness, possibly short for Loch Ness. At the time, Burton never mentioned Austria as being the location for filming like the first article previously suggested. Peter Hillier was apparently the producer and Peter Kenway was apparently another director, although no such names involved in any television or theatre work could be found on record. The interview Burton had at the Grosvenor House Hotel at Park Lane in London was attended by various other unidentified people. It was only later that it became apparent that Burton was actually there to be offered the lead role of the Doctor in an independent pilot, and that Paul Bernard himself was going to be directing the new production, although Bernard was not mentioned in any of the prior articles, and his widow couldn't find a single reference to the production in his diaries. Although Burton claimed that he hated the new Doctor Who painting on the car and it was removed, it was still present on the car some 6 weeks later, and after messing the dealership about for weeks, they finally took the car back off of his driveway themselves after roughly 4 months with the spare key, where no evidence of him actually being Doctor Who appeared anywhere as he promised. Burton is known to be a bit of a fibber, supposedly appearing in an episode of Only Fools and Horses that doesn't actually exist, and despite claiming he had, Burton never once played Albert Steptoe during the Murder at Oil Drum Lane tour, with the only person to take over even once being the understudy Andrew Fetz after lead actor Harry Dickman, who originally played Albert during the national tour, fell under the weather. The most likely explanation? Burton lied to get a free car and promote his charity fundraiser, which, in of itself, isn't the worst thing anyone can do. And if he wants to stick to his guns and defend his story, why not? But I don't buy it. Ren and Stimpy is a cult classic. Created by the now infamous John Kricfalusi, the show was known for its crude humour, comical violence, and unique, old-fashioned cartoonistic style. It was an instant success with both critics and ratings, running from 1991 to 1995, well after John Kay was actually fired in 1992. What some people may not know about the show was apparently Kurt Cobain was slated to record the original theme song. The story goes that one day Cobain visited the Spumco Animation headquarters and stated that he wanted to write a song for the series. The executives didn't like his song and John Kay was angered by his arrogance, and so they threw it out. In its place is the now iconic jazzy theme music. No copies of the alleged song have resurfaced, with the only evidence of its existence being an account from Stimpy's voice actor Billy West on Nerdist podcast. Even if copies of the song still existed, it was said that the version Nickelodeon had was destroyed, making it unlikely that any of the executives held a copy. As everyone knows, Kurt Cobain sadly took his own life on the 5th of April 1994. There are some things about this story that don't make any sense though. Not only has Cobain's estate not even indirectly commented on the matter in any form, but according to a Spanish interview with John Kay in July 2019, he has no recollection of Cobain nor was he aware of such a rumour. In May 2022, Billy West himself, the man who originally told the story, denied that Kurt ever recorded a song for Ren and Stimpy, or in other words, that it never came to fruition, meaning that he was possibly at one point slated to do the theme song, but it never worked out. Even if Kurt Cobain made a rough demo of some kind and simply never presented it to executives as planned, it's unlikely that such a recording would ever surface, so if it does exist, we'll never find it. Chances of it existing? Next to none. Ice Age is by this point a modern classic. It may have gone off the rails a little bit in recent years, but everyone likes it who saw it as a kid. Well, most people do. I personally haven't seen the films in quite a while, but I imagine if I did watch them I'd get some nostalgic enjoyment out of them. They're not perfect by any means, and as I said, the series has been going on for a bit too long at this point, but they're fun movies. Allegedly, Blue Sky originally pitched the project to legendary animators Don Bluth and Gary Goldman, and Fox Animation Studios was set to take the film on board, but they turned the offer down. In this supposed original version, Ice Age was going to be a less comedy-driven film, unlike the final cut, instead being more of a drama-oriented Land Before Time-esque movie. The film was also going to be hand-drawn, not CGI animated. Not much else is known about Bluth's involvement in the first Ice Age film, but he was apparently going to be the driving force behind it. The only reason Bluth and Goldman denied the project is because Titan AE bombed at the box office. So Chris Wedge and Carlos Saldana from Blue Sky Studios took it on board. Bluth is also said to have denied the project because of his extreme distaste for CGI animation, but this is unconfirmed. Although some concept art and an alleged poster for the movie have been found, the actual existence of any official Bluth version of the film is not confirmed. There's no real evidence that any of these things actually happened. The only supposed confirmations are trivia pages on IMDb, TV Tropes, and the film's official wiki, and a since deleted article on Bluth's Wikipedia page mentioning his cancelled projects. All of these websites can easily be edited by the public, who are full of imagination, so it's not known if Don Bluth actually worked on the movie. A 2003 animated movies page does mention the Bluth project, which may possibly indicate that it was at least supposed to happen. Again, since the concept art has never been confirmed as belonging to any kind of Don Bluth version, it's presumed to simply be concept art from the final movie, but this remains unconfirmed. During the Power Rangers Wild Force series, Disney bought out the franchise from Saban, becoming its official owner until Saban bought it back. Supposedly, before selling it back, Disney commissioned an animated pilot for Disney XD based off of the Tokusatsu series. Very little information about this supposed pilot is actually known. One source that mentions this pilot is a Facebook page of a Power Rangers news site. On the same page is a concept trailer for a cancelled animated Power Rangers movie, but not the pilot. Another mention of the pilot was on Ranger Board, a forum dedicated to Power Rangers, where Ron Wasserman spoke about an animated series coming in 2007, saying that a friend had worked on a promotional for it. However, he never mentioned it again. The third and last mention was from Brandon Ragnar, a DeviantArt user who claimed to have been hired by Disney to work on an animated series for Power Rangers. In the post, he included the supposed concept art of the team. Once again, there have been no mentions afterward. The existence of an actual pilot being pitched has been contested to this day, and there are no other mentions of it as of 2024. At a different time, an animation studio called Nerdcore Entertainment, now known as DHX Studios Vancouver, pitched a Power Rangers animated series to Disney in the mid to late 2000s. To help sell the idea, a crew of 3 hastily produced a promotional short over the course of a weekend. Disney turned the offer down. It's possible that this pitch maybe discouraged them from going through with an already concepted idea, or it inspired them to go through with their own series and it simply never came to fruition. Unfortunately, it looks like we'll never know, but the chances that an actual pilot was created seems unlikely. American Beauty is a critically acclaimed drama film released in 1999. It was directed by Sam Mendes and starred Kevin Spacey, Annette Bening, and Thora Birch. It was an incredible film and is one of my favourites, winning the Oscar for the Best Picture in 2000, with Spacey also winning Best Actor. The film's plot is iconic. Middle-class American everyman Lester Burnham is struggling with a midlife crisis. He blackmails his boss at his job, gets a bunch of money, starts working in a fast food restaurant, starts working out, starts smoking weed, and overall just acts like a slightly condescending, very self-righteous, very smooth, crazy person. Lester's next-door neighbour is retired US Marine Colonel Frank Fitz, a deeply homophobic, closeted homosexual with a possibly sociopathic teenage son Ricky, an aspiring filmmaker whom Lester's daughter Jane later falls in love with. One of the main elements of the plot is Lester, for some reason, really wants to fuck Angela, Jane's best friend. At the end of the movie, Colonel Fitz shoots Lester in the back of the head after he decides not to go through with molesting Angela. There was a supposed alternate ending. In the release cut's ending, Lester is shot to death and Ricky stares him in the eyes, infatuated by the corpse. In the alternate ending, Jane and Ricky are arrested and put on trial for Lester's murder. The prosecutors use Ricky's videos against him as evidence. One version of this ending resulted in the two being found guilty, while the other showed them both found innocent. The arrest and trial scenes were eventually cut entirely due to concerns that they would detract from the overall film. Alan Ball, one of the film's screenwriters, told Amazon.com, "We actually shot it, and when we got to editing it, it was just too cynical and too awful." As no footage has been found or released, and Mendes himself hasn't commented on the subject, it cannot be confirmed how much, if any, of the intended ending was filmed. Many other members of the film's crew besides Ball have recalled shooting at least some part of it, so it's possible it was partially shot and left incomplete. Any incomplete footage was most likely discarded, so if it is real, it will most likely never be found.